Let's talk about Deep Regrets, a press your luck fishing game where going mad just might allow you to win. Welcome to Brains on Games. I'm Dr. Brian McDonald. In this episode, we're going to talk about a brand new game that just delivered on Kickstarter. It's a game that should be hitting retail before too long, and it comes from Tettix Games. It's a game called Deep Regrets. This is a game for between 1 and 5 players. There's solo rules in the box, and you can play with up to 5. Games take about 30 minutes per player to get through, and this is one for the teenagers. 16 and up is what it says on the box. Let's take a deeper look at Deep Regrets from Tettix Games. The Kickstarter version of this game came in a gorgeous package. It was wrapped in newsprint like you were getting fish from a British fish market. And the box does have that shiny coating on it, but when you flip it over, there's artwork on the inside. The artwork here is fantastic. The designer is the artist on this thing, and wow, what an amazing, amazing game in terms of the art. The components are great here too. You've got dice. They're really four-sided dice, but they look like buoys. You've got double-sided player boards, dual-layer player boards. You've got your ships that you're going to be sending out to catch some fish. This is a great-looking game. Some of the fish require you to flip a coin. You've got this great fish coin. Everything here is gorgeous, sturdy, and well thought out. Deep Regrets is light to medium, I would say, in terms of its complexity. It's certainly on the heavy end of light or the lighter end of medium. It's somewhere in that range, which is a good range for the group that I play with. And it's a press your luck game, like I said. What you're trying to do is send your boats out to catch fish that are going to earn you the most points. Some of the fish are going to be fair fish, fish that are normal, I guess you could say. But there are some foul fish in these shoals that are going to drive you mad, which also will allow you to roll more dice and catch more fish and work for longer hours. So the crazier you get, the harder you're working. Um, Maybe it's the other way around. Correlation doesn't imply causation, is what I learned at school. But you're trying to be the player who earns the most points. And you can see the point value of the fish right up here in the top left corner. That's going to be modified depending on how crazy you get. And that madness level is going to vary as you gain and lose regrets over the course of the game. You're going to start the game with 13 cards on each of these shoals. Each player is going to take a player board, and that's going to be their player color. They're double-sided, so you can be, well, a normal fisherman like Fred, or you can be some sort of a crazy merman creature or mermaid creature like Fraud. They all have similar names, so I've taken Ela here and Alba. The player boards are all the same. Everything, like the dice that you'll collect, are the same other than the color. You can, in the Kickstarter version, it did come with a mini expansion called the Lamentable Tentacles expansion, and that gives you a biggest regret. That's what they're called. And the biggest regrets gives each player an asymmetric ability that's going to become more powerful the crazier they get. You'll start the day, and the rulebook has some fun, kind of clever names for each phase of the turn, but you'll start the day, it says red sky in the morning, and you're going to start by moving and activating the day powers. You've got this little lighthouse that's going to move across. The game is played across a week of play, so 7 days, 7 rounds of play is what you're going to take advantage of here. And there are certain days where something's going to happen during that red sky in the morning phase. You might gain a few extra fish bucks that you can spend on rods or supplies. You might also get to flip over your can of worms, even if you're not at port. So there are some advantages on certain days of the game. One neat thing about this game, first of all, is that at each level, you're going to have kind of different ratios of fair fish to foul ones. The foul ones are the ones that are going to drive you mad. Here's a medium-sized foul fish, a no-face eel. That's got a difficulty of 3, but it could earn you, well, the printed value is 5 points, but as you go more crazy, it could be worth more than that. At the top here, you've got about a 2-to-1 ratio of fair to foul. It's 1-to-1. You've got a 50-50 chance of getting a fair fish or a foul fish in the middle. It's 3-to-1 foul to fair at the bottom. So you kind of know a little bit about what you might be facing before you even flip over these cards. Another clever design choice that I like here is that there are three sizes of fish. You can get small ones, medium, middling, they call them, or larger fish. And that's indicated by the shadow here on the back of the cards. The smaller fish are less difficult to catch. You've got a difficulty number right up here. And then the larger fish well, they're harder to catch, but they're also going to be worth more points. How do you catch those fish? Well, you choose a shoal that you're going to fish at. Sometimes there might already be a card that's revealed, but you choose a shoal where you want to fish. You flip over that card. If it's not already flipped, then you have to spend dice equal to that difficulty number here. Sometimes you might have cards that reduce the difficulty level, but here you've got to spend at least 3 points worth of dice, and you can't break those up. So if I were the red player and I'm on the first level here, I could spend this, but if I've already spent this number one, I would have to spend 4 points in order to capture this fish. The catch ability, though, here that's going to activate when I catch it is that I have to discard a small fish to take this one. But if I am able to do that, I'm going to get 5 points. However, you also have to check based on your madness value. So if I'm at level 0 here because I don't have any regrets yet, this is going to be worth 7 points for me if I sell it. If it were the end of the game, it's going to be worth 7 victory points. Once you catch the fish, you're just taking it into your hand. You hang on to it unless you decide that you want to mount it later on. You might lose fish when you reveal. Some of these things might cause you to discard a fish or to take some regrets based on something that you might have in your hand. Some of the fish you don't even capture, they stay face up, and some ability is going to continue to activate as you play through the game. It's really a press your luck kind of a game, but you do have a little bit of information based on the shadow here and the ratio of fair to foul fish at each level to make kind of educated guesses about whether you're going to be able to flip a fish that you can catch or is it going to be a fish that you want to catch. If you decide to spend the day at port, you can sell fish in order to earn enough money to buy some supplies. So you can buy rods and reels. These give you powerful abilities and you can equip them at the beginning of each turn. So you're going to have one each of these. You might have a choice each turn if you buy multiples, but you're going to have one each of these that you can use each day. And these stay with you, so you don't have to discard them. Supplies, though, you do have to discard. They can, however, give you some powerful abilities. You can wind up, if you get alcohol, or there was absinthe that allowed me to discard 5 regrets, I think, when it came up. This is why the game is more for adults and older teenagers. If you get this restless stone, you're going to take some regrets, but you can refresh 3 dice, meaning that you can move them back over to the fresh side after you've spent them and take more actions if you've got this. Well, of course, you're restless with this restless stone. You want to be able to do more things. So it really is an important part of the game to manage your money in order to make sure you've got some supplies that are going to allow you to be more efficient and take more actions on your next turn. What skills, though, are you practicing when you play a game like Deep Regrets? Well, it is a game where you've got these dice, and the dice have your base dice. You always have these three. You've got 2 1s, a 2, and a 3. Based on the number of dice you've got and the numbers on those dice, you can look at the depth level that your ship is at and the size of the fish and make some judgments about what's the likelihood if I flip that card over, I'm going to be able to catch that fish, or am I just going to have to draw a card from the dink deck instead and waste a die in order to do that? You're always getting something, but it's better to get those victory points usually if you can. So it's a game where you are thinking about probability. You're making predictions based on limited information, and then you're flipping over that card, and hopefully you've made a good judgment there. Whenever you're thinking about probability, that is an example of quantitative reasoning. You're solving a quantitative problem here. Am I going to have the dice that will allow me to take that card? You're also budgeting you're budgeting your regret cards. You're evaluating, how many victory points you're going to lose, but also what madness level you want to be at. You're evaluating the values on your cards. You've got fair and foul, and those are going to change depending on how crazy you're getting as you play through the game. So it's also a game where you do have to think ahead. You do have to carefully choose when you want to mount those fish when you're at port. You even have to decide when you want to spend the day at port. That is, you're losing a full day of fishing when you're spending the day at port, but that's where you're mounting those fish and buying those supplies. So it is tricky in terms of the management. So you're thinking ahead. You're trying to manage resources. You're also trying to be as efficient as you possibly can. And whenever we're planning and budgeting and trying to take these actions efficiently, we are talking about a set of abilities called the executive functioning skills. These are the behaviors that you need to work towards a goal. And these are always invoked whenever we're playing a game that involves some strategy and planning. Final thoughts, though, about deep regrets. Well, I mean, this is a game where you've got that great artwork, those great components, like I said. The first player token, at least in the Kickstarter edition of the game, is this great big wooden anchor that sits flat on the table. So the pieces are awesome. The artwork is just fantastic. I really do think that just as soon as I saw it, I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be a cool game. I will confess to you that I did back this game without even really looking at the videos, just because, I didn't know too much about what it was about, other than it's a fishing game, it's press your luck, and the artwork and components were gorgeous. So this was an immediate back for me. Um, so it's beautiful. You saw the inside of the box. You saw the clever packaging that came on the Kickstarter edition, where it was wrapped up in paper. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous game, and it's very thematic with the fish and the impact of catching those fish, and you're flipping over those cards, and they all have an ability depending on whether you're catching them, or some of them on reveal have some ability. You've got those asymmetric player powers. That madness mechanic was one that we all really liked. You're really debating each turn, how many regrets do you want to take and how careful do you want to be. If you've got all fair fish up here, you need to be careful about how crazy you're getting. I didn't even mention the player with the most regrets has to discard the highest value trophy that they have up here already mounted. So you maybe want to have the second most if you're collecting lots of those foul fish, but you don't want to have the most because you have to discard one of your trophies. That's a lot of points that you're losing at the end of the game. We had one player with so many regrets. I think he lost over 20 points at least at the end of the game. Plus, he had to discard 10 points worth of fish from his trophy rack up at the top. So the madness mechanic is really, really good. It's changing the value of the fish that you're selling or the victory points at the end. It's also, though, allowing you to catch more fish the crazier you get. If you get really crazy, you get a discount at the store, so you can buy more stuff. But by the time you get there, do you want to spend the day at port? It's a real balancing act, I think, even though there is a lot of luck here involved in this game. Deciding to abandon ship is a fun decision too. I mean, really, that's a monstrous regret, and you know why that is, because you don't want to be a fisherman who loses his ship. So many neat little things about this game that we like. The fact that you max out at 10 fish bucks, so there's only so much you can sell and spend on those turns at the dock, and then you run out of actions if the other players have passed because they've spent their dice. You can only buy so much. So um, I mean, the mechanics are great for a push your luck game. Is very unique, I think. You're almost going down in the dungeon, sort of, but you're going down in the depths of the deep, briny deep instead. The humor, though, is very dark. So if you're not a person who's into that dark humor, where if you flip over a card that has a picture of a foot on it, you might regret that you even decided to play this game. So it is a certain kind of humor. It is a more of a game for grown-ups, like I said. It is a game, if we're talking about kind of downsides, I didn't play it solo. I think it's awesome that there's solo rules in the box, though. I played it at 5 players. I played it at 2. It's way better with more players. When it's just 2 of us, you're not depleting the shoals the same way that you would when there's a lot of players. There's less kind of push and pull when it comes to flipping cards over. You're not activating as many of those abilities. It was more fun with lots of players, even though the game did take longer with more players. It's a game that is, it is luck based. It's a press your luck game, so you might get unlucky with your die rolls, but there are, your rods and reels might allow you to mitigate a bad roll. Some of them allow you to change the value to change 2 dice to their highest values. Those are really good abilities to have in the game. So it is luck based. There are ways to mitigate bad luck but that can make a turn feel like it's going on forever because you don't have the numbers that you need to catch any good fish. But at the end of the day, we're talking about a beautiful press your luck game with a crazy theme with mechanics that I think are innovative and great components, great artwork. Tettix Games, I never even heard of Tettix Games before playing this one. Deep Regrets was a winner with our group at a higher player count. At the lower player count, we're not going to pull this out if there's just 2 players. But when you've got 4 people or 5 people, this was a really good time. Lots of laughs we had when you're playing with a group that has that dark sense of humor, I guess. It was with young adults that I played this one. So the older guys were more cautious about taking too many regrets, and the young guys were going as crazy as they possibly could. So we had a great time playing this one. So Tettix Games, I think you've got a winner on your hands here. If you have any questions about Deep Regrets or anything else to do with Brains on Games, you can leave them in the comment section below the video, or you can email me at brian@brainsongames.ca. Brainsongames.ca is the website. That's where future episodes will go. Previous ones are already up there. Brains on Games is the X handle and the Blue Sky page and the Facebook page and the Instagram feed. So we're all over the place. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to be notified of future ones, you can head on over to YouTube and click that subscribe button. Thanks for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you next time.